and welcome to the BSP solution. My name is Sandeep Singh. So today's topic is about how to manage the ownership within the FCCS application. So in this session today, I am going to give you the overview that how we are going to validate our numbers within the FCCS application under the different methods of consolidation. So before moving into the application, I would like to give you the glimpse of some terminology that is involved within the preparation of the financial consolidation statement. So the first important thing is that you must understand that who is going to be the parent company and who is going to be the subsidiary company. So the parent company is the company which takes the acquisition in the other company. So in this sheet, you can see that company A, company A has taken the acquisition in the company B by 100%. So this means that company B is the wholly owned subsidiary of company A. Company A has also taken the acquisition in the company C, but by 75%. So the company C will not be the wholly owned subsidiary company. Company C will be called a partly owned subsidiary company. And in case the company takes ownership by less than 50%, so in this case, company A has taken the acquisition and the company D by 25%. So they will going to follow the equity method of consolidation. So the basic things involved in the preparation of consolidated financial statement is that you merge the number of parent company with the number of the subsidiary company. Are you guys able to listen to me, because I am getting some kind of disturbance?
I'm able to listen.
Okay. So the next thing is that when one company takes acquisition in other company, so the one in this slide you can see that suppose in this slide company A has taken the acquisition in the company C by 75%. So the company A will be the parent company for the company C, because if you take the ownership by more than 50% in the other company, you will get the controlling interest, and you get the sufficient power that you can influence the outcome of the company. So in this case, the company A will be going to be the parent company of company C, and the company B has taken the ownership by 25% in the company C. But since the company B has taken the ownership by 25% only, so in this case, the company B here will be having the minority interest, and you may also call this as a non-controlling interest. Because when you prepare the consolidated financial statement, you need to determine the number of the minority shareholder as well. So whatever will be the outcome of the company in which the acquisition was taken place, whether it will be the profit or loss, it will be distributed according to the shareholding in the acquired company. So the consolidation process. So in the consolidation process, what we do is that we do have the parent financial statement number. In the similar manner, we do have the subsidiaries financial statement, and we are merging the number of both the entities, or one parent entity, and there can be a multiple subsidiary. So you will merge the number of the parent company with the number of multiple subsidiaries, and the few adjustment and elimination taken place at the time of consolidation. So after those adjustment and elimination, you get your final consolidated financial statement number. So the consolidation is the process of preparing and presenting the financial statement of a group as an economic entity. No ledger for group entity. It means that a group does not have any ledger. The entities within that group have all the ledgers, so we are combining all those ledgers while preparing the consolidated statement. So you combine the parent numbers with the subsidiaries financial statement number, adjust or eliminate any intra-group transaction and balances, and you allocate those profit to the non-controlling interest and to the parent company which takes the acquisition. Now there are three methods of consolidation which the company follows when they take the acquisition in the other company. In case the company has taken the acquisition in between 0 to 20%, they normally follow the cost method of consolidation. Cost method is followed where there is no significant influence exist. Why there is no significant influence exist? Because they have taken the ownership by only by 20%. But in case the company takes acquisition in between 20 to 50%, then they follow the equity method of consolidation. By taking the acquisition in between 20 to 50%, they they are having the significant influence on that company, not total influence, but do have the significant influence that they can influence the decision by exercising their right. So where there is a significant influence exists, we follow the equity method of consolidation. And then when the acquisition take place between the 50 to 100%, then we are following the 100 total consolidation method where the full control exists. Sorry. Now here in this slide, I am trying to explain to you that what is the difference between the equity method of consolidation and the cost method of consolidation. So you can see that under the equity method of consolidation, when the acquisition took place, so the initial entry at the time of acquisition, that they had taken the they had updated the investment amount by 500 and they had credited the cash. Similar treatment is also given under the cost method. But under the equity method, when the when the profit generated by the company in which they took the acquisition, so under the equity method, our investment amount gets updated at the regular interval. See, in this slide, in the first year of acquisition, the company has incurred the loss. So we had debited the loss by 100 rupees, and similarly we had credited the investment amount. So our net investment amount gets updated, and now the final value of investment amount will come to 400 under the equity method. Now in the next year, the company had earned a profit of 200. So we had credited the income by 200, and we have increased our investment amount by 200. So now the investment amount comes to 600. But under the cost method, we are not uh, we are not passing entry for these transactions. So this is the basic difference between the equity method and the cost method. Here the investment amount will remain same what they had invested on the first time of acquisition, and under the equity method your investment amount gets updated on the basis of the outcome of the company in which they have taken the acquisition. In the similar case, if the acquiring company has declared any dividend, so in this case the dividend receivable has been debited and our investment amount has been credited. So we had in this time also we had reduced our investment amount by 50, and under the cost method we they had debited the dividend receivable amount and they had credited the dividend income amount, but they had uh, not increase or decrease the investment amount that they had originally made at the time of acquisition. So this is the basic difference between the equity and the cost method of the consolidation. Now this you can see that this is the example where the legal entity 01 has taken the acquisition in the legal entity 02 by 80%. So we do have the transactional number of both the legal entity. So you can see that the cash and cash equivalent amount is 20,000, 5,000. They had some intercompany transaction between the legal entity 01 and legal entity 02. So in the books of legal entity 01, you are finding the legal entity 01 has a 8,000 receivable from the legal entity 02. In the similar manner, you will find that intercompany payable in the book of legal entity 02, that is 8,000. Other receivable is 30,000, 18,000. The inventory amount is 55,000 and 34,000. Legal entity 01 has made the investment in subsidiary, that is a legal entity 02, by 70,000. So by paying 70,000, they had taken the acquisition by they had taken the acquisition by 80%. In the similar manner, the property, plant and equipment, deferred tax asset. So the total fixed asset is this much amount. So the total asset for the legal entity 01 is 3,07,000, and for legal entity 02 is 1,47,000. The other payable, this is a liability, loan payable, intercompany payable. I had already told to you the deferred tax liability, the common stock, the retained earning prior. So you can see that our total equity and liability number is 3,07,000, which is exactly equal to the total asset. Similar for the legal entity 02 as well. 1,47,000 is the total asset of legal entity 02, and the equity and liability is 1,47,000. Now, on the basis of this trial balance, we will understand that what should be the number come on the consolidated financial statement from the functional point of view. Then I will going into the application that how we can achieve the same within the FCCS application. So in the next sheet, you can see that the cash and cash equivalent of both the legal entity I have merged the legal so the cash and cash equivalent amount is 25,000. Any intercompany transaction between the legal entities should get eliminated. So therefore on the intercompany receivable, you can see that on the C level, on the consolidated level, you are finding this number 0. The other receivable, simply addition of both the for both legal entities, the inventory as well. The investment made by the subsidiary by the legal entity 01 into legal entity 02 gets eliminated. So here on the consolidated entity, this number is coming to 0. The goodwill amount, this amount will be get calculated at the consolidated. On both the legal entity 01, 02, you are not finding any goodwill number. This number is calculated at the time of preparation of the consolidated statement. The property, plant and equipment, we have simply merged deferred tax asset. So our total asset is 3,46,000, and the total liability, that is other payable, loan payable, intercompany payable, this amount gets eliminated with the intercompany receivable, so the amount is zero, the deferred tax liability. Now under the equity section, you can see that on the consolidated level, you will find only the equity of the parent company. So the common stock is of legal entity 01, that is 2 lakh. The retained earning prior is 62,000, that is of the parent company, and this amount is calculated non-controlling interest. These are the minority shareholders, so we need to determine the interest of this minority shareholder at the time of preparation of consolidated financials. So you can see that on the consolidated level, our total asset is 3,46,000, and our total liability and equity is also 3,46,000. So from the functional point of view, I hope we have understand that how these numbers are coming to the consolidated level. Now we are going to replicate the same numbers within the FCCS application and see how these numbers are coming into the application. So I have defined those legal entity within the FCCS application. So if you go into the dimension of legal of entities, you will find all those entities within the FCCS application. So according to our example, you see that we do have the consolidated entity. This is the dummy entity where you will find your consolidated number. Under this consolidated entity, you will find your legal entities. So under this legal entity, we do have the two children, that is legal entity 01 and the legal entity 02. Now how we have defined the ownership for these legal entities. So I'm going to show you that how we have defined these legal entities within the. So you need to go within the application, within the consolidation. Here you can see that we do have the CE01. Under this, we do have the two children. Legal entity 01, I have defined this as a parent company, as a holding company, and the legal entity 02 as a subsidiary company. And here I have given the ownership percentage, that is 80%. So if I have defined here the 80%, the application will automatically determine the 20% for the minority shareholder. So under this method of, this is the subsidiary method of consolidation. So for the CE01, I have inputted those number within the application through the smart views. So I'm going to tell you that how we need to enter those numbers within the FCCS application. So you see that we do have the two legal entity, that is the children of CE01. I have entered those number for the month of Jan for FY19, and my scenario is actual. This is the view dimension, that is periodic. On the entity currency, I have inputted those numbers. I am entering this number against no intercompany. My movement member is no movement. I am entering this number through the data source, that is data input. And I have chosen the consolidation member, that is entity input. So on this intersection only you will find the option of inputting the number into your application. And these all these accounts are the base level, are the child. So you will find only the option of inputting the number once you have taken the child member of the accounts only, then you will get the option of inputting the number. So as per our example, see, I have entered the cash and cash equivalent of 20,000 and 5,000, the other receivable 30,000 and 18,000. So I have inputted those numbers within the application through the smart view. Now you can see that after entering the all the numbers, I have entered for all the assets and I have entered the number of all the liability, that is common stock, retained earning prior. These are my liabilities, loan payable. This is also the liability, other payable, deferred tax asset. Now you can see that after inputting all the numbers, what the FCCS application does, that if the application will find that your total asset is exactly equal to the total liability and equity, then your at this level your balance should get zero. But you are finding here that we do have the difference of 78,000. Our balance sheet is not getting validated. In the similar manner for the legal entity 02 is 8,000. So whenever your assets and liability will not get matched, you will find the difference on the total balance sheet traditional approach. So you are finding the difference of by 78,000 and 8,000. Why this difference is coming? The difference is coming because we have yet not entered the intercompany transactional number within the FCCS application. So I have not been entered this number in this sheet because we are required to enter your intercompany numbers against the intercompany partner. Then only you will see the elimination. Otherwise, if you do not enter the intercompany number against the intercompany partner, you will not going to find out the eliminated number, the intercompany elimination number. So for entering the intercompany number, I have taken all the dimensional member that we have selected uh, on the sheet one, and now the only difference that this time I am entering against no intercompany, I am entering this time against my ICP partner. So in this case, for legal entity 01, legal entity 02 is my ICP partner, and for legal entity 02, legal entity 01 is my ICP partner. So you can see that legal entity 01 has made the investment into legal entity 02 by 70,000. So I have tell to the system that I have invested this much amount against my this ICP partner. In the similar manner, the intercompany payable in the books of legal entity 02, we do have the intercompany payable number of 8,000. So I have entered those number against my this intercompany partner, that is legal entity 01 ICP. In the similar manner, in the books of legal entity 01, they have the intercompany receivable. So I have entered this number against my legal entity 02 ICP partner. So you see that we do have the difference of 78,000 and 8,000. The similar number we have entered this against the intercompany partner. So now by entering this number, our balance sheet get matched. We have done the exactly the difference amount entry within the FCCS application. So we have loaded the trial number into the application. Now how should our balance sheet number get come? So once you uh, once you enter these numbers within the application and you will run the business rules of consolidation, you should get your consolidated number. So on the coming to the balance sheet, you see that now I am looking the number on the different intersection. You see that we do have the consolidated entity. This is my the entity total is my member of consolidation dimension. The total data source is my member of the data source. The movement member is the closing balance. I am looking the consolidated number at the intercompany top. You will only find the number at the consolidated level only in the parent currency, whatever the parent currency of holding company. Then I am looking, you do have the option of looking the number at YTD level or at periodic level. So you do have the option. So here I am looking the number at the YTD level. My scenario is actual for FY19 and January. So you can see that our total asset is 3,46,000 and our total liability and equity is also 3,46,000. So according to our example, you see that on the from the functional point of view, we are getting the same number, and in the FCCS also we are finding the same number. Now the you can see that our cash and cash equivalent is 20,000 for legal entity 01 and 5,000 for legal entity 02. The system has merged both these numbers, so the number is 25,000. 8,000, this is the intercompany number. This number gets eliminated and now our consolidated number is 0. The other receivable, simply addition of both the for both legal entities, for inventories also. Now here you will find the number of goodwill. So as per our example, we have also calculated the number goodwill, that is 30,000. Now how this number is coming? Now the legal entity 01 has made the investment by 70,000. So they had made the investment by 70,000 and they had taken the acquisition by 80%. So you see that the net asset of the company at the time of acquisition, it will always be your common stock and the retained earning prior number of the subsidiary. So in this case, the common stock is 80,000 and our retained earning is 45,000. If you add both them together, you will get the 1,25,000 number. Now, if I am going to calculate the 80% of net asset, so the number is coming 1 lakh. So we have acquired the net asset of 1 lakh, but we have paid only 70,000 for the acquisition. So that's why it is coming, the goodwill number is coming into the negative. So this is how the goodwill numbers gets calculated within the application. Now, so the goodwill number, the assets, property, plant and equipment is simply addition, the deferred tax asset. And now you see that the investment in the subsidiary amount gets eliminated at the consolidated level. Similar to our example, the current liability is 8,000. This amount, this is intercompany account, this is intercompany payable, this gets eliminated. The other payable, this is simply addition. The deferred tax liability, this is all simple addition. Now you see that on the total equity side, you are finding the common stock of at the consolidated level, that is of the parent company. The similar for the retained earning prior, that is 62,000. So we are getting the at the consolidated level, the retained earning prior number of only the parent company. And the additional amount that I have already told to you that we need to determine the interest of the minority shareholder. So this is how the 25,000 is amount is coming, because the parent company has taken the acquisition by 80% only. So the difference between the net asset of the subsidiary and the uh, acquisition taken by the 80% by the parent company. So this 25,000, the difference between both this amount, this 25,000 will belong to the minority shareholder. So this is how your consolidated financial statements are prepared under the, this is the subsidiary method of consolidation, where the company has taken the acquisition by 80%. Now, moving further, I am going to tell you that uh, that how the consolidated financial statements are prepared under the equity method of the consolidation. Now consider, I have used the same set of number for preparing the consolidated financial statement under the different method of consolidation. So first method of consolidation we have covered, that is subsidiary method of consolidation, and now we are moving on to the equity method of consolidation, that how the numbers will come to the equity method of the consolidation, where the consolidation percentage be will be in between 0 to 50%. See, if the if the consolidation, if the acquisition is in between 0 to 50%, it is optional for the company that what method they are going to choose while preparing the consolidated financial statement. Standards are defined, but the company can even choose the proportional method of consolidation while preparing the consolidated financial statement. So I will also explain you that how we are going to prepare the consolidated financial statement under the proportional method of consolidation. So now we are talking about the consolidation, the equity method of consolidation, the same set of number what we have inputted for the subsidiary method of consolidation, and now we will look the same number within the equity method of consolidation. The only difference between the prior method and this method is that earlier we do have the ownership by 80%. Now in this time we do have the ownership by 40%. So here also you see that we do have the CE02. Under this we do have the two children, that is legal entity 03 and legal entity 04. This is my parent company and this is my subsidiary. Now here in this example I have taken the ownership by 40%. So whenever you define the ownership within 50%, you will find only the option of this method of consolidation, equity and proportional method of consolidation. So when you define your ownership within 50%, you do have the option of selecting the equity method of the consolidation and the proportional method of consolidation. In case your client requirement is something else, then the FCCS has given you the facility of defining your consolidation method within the FCCS application. So you can manage your consolidation method by defining your own percentage according to the requirement of the client. So the within this consolidation method, if client tell to you that no, this method we are not following, we are following someone different method, then you can configure those consolidation method according to your requirement. So coming to our example, in this example, I have defined that legal entity, for legal entity 04, we have taken the acquisition by 40%, and here we are following the equity method of consolidation. Now you see that uh, on the equity method of consolidation, there is no question of minority interest. So the minority interest percentage will always be 0. Now I have entered those number So I have entered those number. See, I have taken the same set of number, but now this time I am entering for the legal entity 03 and my legal entity 04. So the similar number I have entered for the legal entity 03 and the legal entity 04, and the same case here also, the difference of the same amount is coming, and the same amount I have entered. For this time I have chosen the legal entity. This time my legal entity 04 is my ICP partner, and for legal entity 04, legal entity 03 is my ICP partner. So I have entered the same set of number for legal entity 03 and legal entity 04. Now we will look that how the consolidated number will come at the consolidated level. So this is my balance sheet. So you can see that we do have the legal entity 03 number, legal entity 04 number, and this is my consolidated entity where we have defined the 40%. So you can see that at the consolidated level, the cash and cash equivalent is 20,000 and 5,000. But on the consolidated level, you are finding the number of only of the parent company. The other receivable, inventories. So you see that we do have the number of only parent company under the equity method of consolidation. Here also the goodwill number is determined. Here this time the goodwill number has been changed because we have paid 70,000 for the acquisition, and if I am going to calculate the net asset value, that is 1,25,000, and I have taken the acquisition by 40% only. So I have acquired the net asset of 50,000, but I have paid 70,000 for the acquisition. So this means that I have paid 20,000 excess for the goodwill. So this is how the goodwill number gets calculated. The all the asset number will roll to the consolidated level of only the parent company. The only difference is that the you see that on the current liability, on the account payable, intercompany payable amount gets eliminated, other payable of the parent company, loan payable, deferred tax liability. So in this case we do not have the deferred tax liability for the parent company, so the number is coming to zero. The owner's equity, that is 2,62,000, that is of the parent company only. And there is the minority interest. This time there is no calculation for the minority interest. So under the equity method of consolidation, you will find only the number of the parent company, and the goodwill number is also get calculated. So this is how the calculation takes place under the equity method of consolidation. Now there is another method of consolidation where we do have the option of defining the consolidation method of proportional. So I have prepared the consolidated financial statement under the method of proportion. So this time my consolidated entity is 03, my legal entities are 05 and 06, and here I have defined the ownership by 40%, but the consolidation method is here here change, that is proportional method of consolidation. Now we will going to see how the under the proportional method of consolidation how our number is coming. So I have entered the same set of number under the proportional method of consolidation. The only difference is that this time I have selected the legal entity 05 and legal entity 06. I have entered the intercompany number in the same manner what we have inputted earlier. Now we are going to see how the numbers are coming at the consolidated level under the proportional method of consolidation. So you will see that now cash and cash equivalent number is changed. This time it is not of the parent company. Here we are getting the proportional amount gets clubbed with the cash and cash equivalent of the parent company. So if I will going to calculate the 40% of 5,000, this amount is 2,000. So you see that on the cash and cash equivalent, we have increased our cash and cash equivalent exactly according to the proportion math, according to the proportion of acquisition we have taken into the subsidiary. Into other receivable, this is also gets calculated. This amount is increased by 40%. The inventory amount is also increased by the 40%. The goodwill amount is calculated same in the same manner what we have calculated under the equity method of consolidation. So this 20,000 is coming on the proportion method of consolidation as well. The property, plant and equipment, 1,20,000 of parent company and 40% of the legal entity that is in which we have taken the acquisition. So under the proportional method of consolidation, the whatever will be the assets and the liability of the subsidiary that will get merged according to the acquisition percentages. And for the equity and the retained earning in this method also you will find the number of the parent company only. So you can see that our balance sheet is 0. Our total asset is 3,12,600 and our total liabilities and equity is 3,12,600. So these are the three methods of consolidation what I have explained to you, and we do have the option when we take the ownership by 0 to 50%. We do have the option of selecting under the equity method of consolidation or the proportional method of consolidation or according to the requirement given by the client. And in case the requirement is somewhat different, then you can manage your consolidation within the consolidation that is provided by the FCCS, that where you can define your own consolidation method. So that is what from my side. In case of any question, if you would like to ask to me, you can ask to me.
Sandeep, could you share this Excel file with us?
This is the smart view sheet, this sheet.
Yes. Yes, Sandeep.
Okay, I will share to you.